Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. So, before we start the show, very important announcement. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Of course, when you do hit the subscribe button, please, even if you are subscribed to the channel already, please go back and check that you've hit the notification bell, which is there, the notification you'll see right here. And next to the notification bell, when make sure you click on it, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, hit the bell, it's to all. So it gets to your subscription list and that you get our very latest videos, and that makes sure that you can tune in to these shows live. So just thought that we'd let you know that. So let's go on a bit. Just want to make sure you can see that. And we just wait a little longer for others to join the room. We will be talking about the Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. The gloves are off. 2. So it's the rematch between Ruiz and Joshua. We'll be talking about that in a moment. And just got to make a very slight adjustment here, and then we will be ready to get the show cracking. Before I start, just of course, let us know where you are. We'll give you a shout out in the room before we start this broadcast, and we're going to be bringing up some very interesting points in this show. So let's do it. For those of you who would have just seen the premiere of Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, or Joshua versus Ruiz 2, gloves are off, hosted by good old former WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world, Johnny Nelson. As you may or may not know, if you're new to the channel, you wouldn't know, but you will know. I called the fight, and I said Andy Ruiz knocked Joshua out. I even said how the knockout would happen. While Joshua was going for the finish, Ruiz would catch him. And, well, that was the beginning of the end for Joshua and his ambitions to retain his title and go on to get a super fight with Wilder. That was basically gone down the drain because of this guy, Andy Ruiz Jr. So usually when I do these reviews of Gloves Are Off, I can usually tell you who's going to win the fight before the fight happens. Usually. There's some telltale signs. And if, from what I'm seeing here, there's any reflection as to what's going to happen in the rematch, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. I remember, if you remember me talking to you the night or the morning on the afternoon of the fight, warning Joshua fans and warning the world that Andy Ruiz is coming, and he's coming with a very positive mindset. He's coming because he took some time out of boxing because of his people were body shaming him, telling him he's always fat, he's overweight, he'll never do anything. He was being trained by Abel Sanchez at the time, and he stopped. I kept asking Abel, where's Andy Ruiz? Where's Andy Ruiz? Where's Andy Ruiz? I'd love to talk to Andy Ruiz. And he said, you know what? Andy Ruiz ain't boxing now. He's gone to a construction site with his dad. And I was telling people this story, and they really wouldn't listen. Generally, they don't. About how Andy Ruiz, his mindset was for his Joshua fight, that he wanted to prove the public wrong. The people saying he's going to get knocked out in a round, knocked out in 2, knocked out in 3 rounds. I said, this guy is coming. And because you people out there that talk all this rubbish about Andy Ruiz and being a fat guy, and you're still doing it now, you inspired this guy. And because of you haters, and because you guys who like to fat shame and say he's a fat guy, disrespect his boxing ability, this is why. Thank you to you guys, Andy Ruiz says, because of you guys, this guy's now the heavyweight champion of the world. But no, you don't stop, do you? You're still going on about calling him a fat guy. You're still disrespecting his boxing skills. And for the most part, Anthony Joshua cannot believe he's sitting on that chair and he's looking at Andy, and he's looking at this guy going, this fat kid beat me. This fat kid beat me. This fat kid beat that. You just look at his body language. This fat kid beat me. This guy has my belt. I mean, in all the guys I thought I may have got beat by, yeah, I might have got beat by Wilder. I might have got beat by Fury. Yeah, there's a possibility in a rematch with Dillian White. It might not quite have gone my way. Oh, I could have got beat by Klitschko. Povetkin's a good fighter. But when he looks at Andy Ruiz, in his mindset, from what I'm seeing here, I can't believe I lost to this guy. I cannot believe I lost to this guy. And the look on his face and his whole body language is like when a schoolboy has done really naughty in school and then he comes home and he gets a whooping by his dad. And then he's just sitting upright and like, whatever, I'm not going to disrespect dad. More to the point, put it this way, Johnny Nelson being the school teacher, Andy Ruiz being the dad, and Joshua being the son of Andy Ruiz. Now, I'm not trying to be funny here, but look at the dynamics. Joshua won't say anything out of turn about Ruiz. Ruiz has told him he quit. Ruiz is telling him, I know you, bro. I know what you're about. I know what you're about. And even when Joshua's talking, I'm going to make all these changes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The bottom line is, the first time you got hit hard on the chin or the temple, the first time you got hit, your whole foundations fell about. So your chin is not going to change. You're not suddenly going to be able to take body shots any better. The things that you base your career off, being a big guy, a strong guy, a muscular guy, a towering, a Adonis, a Hercules, all those things have been reduced to nothing. And Andy Ruiz here, who looks out of shape to Joshua, is looking at you going, look, bro, I've been fighting since I was 6 years old. I've seen guys like you. And he up. And he's telling him, do you once, I'm going to do you again. Straight up. Yeah, Josh is saying, well, I took it out of the oven too early and all this sort of stuff, and I'm a soldier and this and that. And then Ruiz is looking at him, and you can see that Ruiz actually wants to laugh in his face, but he's just trying to be polite, but he actually wants to laugh in his face. The way, if you look at Ruiz's eyes, and he's looking Joshua up and down, and he's looking, he's smiling, and he's looking, and Ruiz wants to say something else to Joshua, but not to come across as an idiot, or to come across as an arrogant guy, or to come across as misunderstood. He's looking at Joshua going, bro, I've got your number. I've got your number, and your people are telling me still I'm fat and I'm not good enough and all this stuff. You're going to find out. And it's Joshua here who is talking about, oh, well, if I speak it into existence. You look at Joshua's body language and his behaviour when he did the gloves off with Dillian White, or the gloves off when he did with Charles Martin, or the gloves off when he did with Parker. Look at the energy that Joshua's giving off then, and look at this Joshua now. His whole body language is, he's talking one way, but his body language is one that he doesn't want to get in the fire again. He's actually saying to you, know what, I'm not willing to engage with you again. He's talking like a soldier, but his body language is one to say is disengaging. I don't want to be involved. I don't want any part of this. I really don't want any part of this. His whole body language is like, circumspect, conservative, don't really want to engage with you. There's no, he talks about, I want to just randomly come and start talking about Africa, and when he touched the ground, he touched the surface after a long time. Oh yeah, he started, finding himself in Africa. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you bumbling on about? There's no anger, there's no emotion. This man's ripped your titles away from you. He has embarrassed you in New York. He has turned your world upside down. You look at Lennox Lewis when he got knocked out by Hassan Rahman. Every time he saw Rahman, he was fired up. Every time he saw Rahman, he was fired up. And at least with the Rahman fight, Lennox got caught with one shot and knocked out. This guy got repeatedly knocked down by Andy Ruiz. Repeatedly knocked down. So this thing about the punch from the gods, and Andy Ruiz is a good fighter. But to me, I'm sorry, This fight could end real early. This fight could end very early. You think? I remember it was a key thing in when I knew Fury had beaten Klitschko. And it was before the fight. When Fury turned to Klitschko and said to Klitschko, "Ah, you're getting old." And Klitschko went. He was so insecure, he went and dyed his hair to get rid of the grey. Because he was so insecure. "You're an old man." Fury said to him. He went and dyed his hair black. He went and dyed his hair to get out any look of grey. He went and put a few inches in his boots, or his shoes, so he can look as tall as Fury. These little things here, people don't pay attention to. And here's Anthony Joshua, who doesn't believe in that his size. "Oh, I'm a strong, I'm an Adonis." He has now lost size. He goes, "Oh well, I came back from the European Championships and I did this and I did that." Yeah, you may have come back, but did you make the adjustments? Have you made the adjustments? You haven't made the adjustments, because how did you get beat in the European Championship or the World Championships? How did Nista beat you in the European Championships or the World Championship? I don't care where it was, or whoever it was in the European Championships. How did you get beat by that guy? It was a short guy that backed you up against the ropes, slipped under your shots when you were trying to engage, backed you up, hurt you, and you got stopped in the amateurs. In the pros, anytime someone's put it on you, there's been a problem. You get stopped or knocked out or stopped multiple times in sparring. There's clearly something fundamentally you're not doing right. But he keeps saying about, "Yeah, well, if I don't stop here, I stopped here." You can keep on going on. You can keep on going on, but not addressing the problems. Now he's talking about he's addressing the problems now. But I don't see how you address the problems, because the way you're talking, your body language is not telling me that you're. And even when they're asking what your outcome of the fight's going to be, you're talking and we're speaking into existence. Well, before you were talking, I remember you talking stuff. "Oh, if Ruiz keeps talking that stuff, I'll knock him out even faster." You're not talking that stuff now, because you know the reality is this guy could do what he did to you before again. "Oh, if I do the same thing I did before, then I'm going to get the same results." Well, that was fine when you were winning. You were still getting open, getting caught to the left, getting caught with the left hook by Dillian Whyte. You were open against Klitschko. You got caught again by Povetkin. You were struggling when you fought Takam. Referee had to get involved with that. So I'm not quite sure. You're fighting a guy who actually has got his career is not based on his size. His career is not based on big muscles. His career is not based on manufacturism. This guy is based on hard work, and he's a slugger. This is based on skill set, getting in, getting dirty, getting the job done. To me, Andy Ruiz sits there as a guy who's an unbeaten fighter. To me, he's a guy who's an unbeaten fighter. Forget the Joseph Parker fight, because if that fight was anywhere else in the world, Andy Ruiz would have been champion. But that was in Parker's backyard. Right? So just remember this. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm very confused as to where this is all going with Joshua. I'm sorry. We're both big punchers. Yeah, we know that. Joshua knocked Ruiz down, but nobody says. No, I've heard nobody say Ruiz got dropped by a mistake, because Joshua could, after he threw that right hand and he dropped Ruiz. Where did he throw that right hand again and put Ruiz in trouble again for the rest of the right from round 3 onwards? Where did Joshua throw a right hand which made Ruiz back up? At what point? Nobody talks about these things. But how many times after that 3rd round, after he hurt Joshua, did Ruiz make Joshua back up every time he threw the punch? And some of these things are subconscious, instinctive. When you rush Joshua, he puts his hands up and he hides behind the guard. Now, for me, if I'm Andy Ruiz, I'm looking at Anthony Joshua. Do you know what I do the first round? As soon as the bell goes, ding, ding, round 1, go straight across the ring. And I continue from round 7. Because I don't believe, subconsciously, that Joshua has overcome this defeat to Ruiz. I just don't. I don't. I don't. And I think as soon as he gets hit, all that YouTube stuff, all what he's been taught, all that stuff will go out the window. And you can teach a guy to throw a jab and a right hand and a left hook. You can teach him all those things and you can get him skipping faster and you can make him lose weight. But the foundations is what the problem is. And the foundation is this guy doesn't have great genetics when it comes to taking a punch, whether it be to the chin or to the body. Yeah, but what about the Klitschko fight? I know you keep telling me about that, but I did break it down to you. Klitschko's not a swarmer. Klitschko's not going to slip inside of punches. Klitschko's 40 years of age. What? He's not what about the Joseph Parker fight? Again, Joseph Parker, he's not a swarmer. This guy's style is all wrong for Joshua. And he said it himself. Ruiz said it himself about Joshua's style. It's made for me. A big guy. I like it. That I do better against guys like that. That's my style. So he's looking at Joshua. He's going, yep, do all the training you want. Set, get your trainer in. Do this, do that. All right. As soon as I hit you on the chin, again, it's over. As soon as I catch you, let me get my hands on you again. I warned you guys the first time about Andy Ruiz. You didn't listen. You don't listen. So it's all falling apart here. Because look who's talking about humble. How many times has Ruiz said the word humble in the whole of this interview? Have you noticed? How many times in the interview Ruiz has said the word humble? How many times has Joshua said the word humble? Do you mean? That was all a slogan. Stay humble. Now he has to be humble. You understand? Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. You know what I mean? And I warned you all, if you remember again, after the Parker fight, I told you the British public will turn on Joshua. You will turn on Joshua. They will turn on Joshua. And you're watching it. And you're seeing it right here. Telling you. They've done it to Beckham. Right? They'll do it to him. And when it does, it ain't happened yet. Look what they did to Frank Bruno. Guy went in the mental home. Do you understand? And Bruno's one of Britain's most loved, most popular. Joshua will never be as popular as Bruno. Never. Do you know what I mean? So, he has a problem here, Joshua. It's genetics. So, bad chin or not great chin, knocked out so many times. And I don't even know how much Ruiz knows about Joshua sparring. I don't know. But I suspect news gets around in America very quickly about sparring and what's been going on. And people talk over the telephone. They get on the phone. Hey, so what's been going on with Joshua? I'll tell you how it goes on the telephone. So what's been going on? You know what? Hey, Andy, what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, so how's it going? How's Joshua been sparring? Man, that boy's getting beat up in sparring every day. He's getting beat every day in sparring. So what, you think has he made any changes? Not really, bro. You don't even change. Yeah, they're doing a bit here and there. But the boy can't take a punch. He doesn't take it to the body very well. Boy, I see that boy put some punches on Josh. Okay, all right. That's how telephone calls. The amount of times I've heard there have been telephone calls I've heard about things going on in the grapevine and stuff that's going on that can't talk about, and it comes out afterwards. Same happens with boxers. There's a community, and they look up for the most part, they look after one another. Ruiz is a good guy. You understand? Ruiz and Hunter were sparring together. And there are other guys that Ruiz is sparring as well. I'm not talking about that. So not you all, but you guys who are AJ fans that don't want to listen to this stuff, what again? He looks like a guy who's been made to be humble. There's a difference. He's been humbled. That's what it looks like. Ruiz has humbled Joshua. And I don't see... I mean, if you could tell me you could actually see passion in Joshua. Guys turned around and told you that you quit. Look at Joshua's face when Johnny Nelson looks at Joshua and says, looks at Ruiz and says, "Did he quit?" Go back and rewind the tape and look at Joshua's face. He's thinking, how could you ask that question? How many years have I known you? How could you ask me that question? How can you front me out like that? That's like when the guys go out for the night, yeah? And I don't know. The guy's going for a bad patching relationship, or he's just broke up. And he meets a girl, and the girl and the guy's talking, he's around his mates, and he says, one of the guys go, "Oh yeah, shame you weren't like that with Fiona." Stuff like that. You kind of feel kind of exposed. Element of trust there is not there. That sort of thing. And I kind of saw it in Joshua's language, like looking across. He can't say to Johnny Nelson, "All right, don't ask that question." But he didn't seem totally impressed with it. He didn't seem totally impressed with it. Core 2971 says, did he say it was a freak punch in gloves off Ingram? Yeah, he did. He said it was a freak punch, meaning that his explanation of it now is that he trained to block the left hook. But this is what I'm saying to you. It comes back and backs at what I'm saying. So all these years you've been training to block a left hook. You couldn't block a left hook from Dillian Whyte all that time back then before you were world champion. Suddenly now you're going to come out and block a left hook. Yeah, of course you are. Reconnecting with soil. This is George Michael. Reconnecting with soil, steady bases, military mindsets. I'm none the wiser. I thought it was an ad for outdoor army camps. Denise Ward says, hello everyone. Joshua swallowed his own fake hype. Just because he's on big money doesn't mean he should win fights. George Michael, I agree. Can't stand the fat shamers. Unnecessary, can fight. George Michael continues, says, that's true. Ruiz manned up and said he caught me. But Josh was like, punch from the gods. Which one? EBZ Slap says, understand what you're saying, but I genuinely believe Joshua will correct adjustments and beat Ruiz over 12 rounds. He'll correct the adjustments. Well, wait. So if you was listen, my point is, if you corrected the adjustments, he would not have got knocked out by Andy Ruiz. Because the mistakes he made against Andy Ruiz fundamentally are the mistakes he made against Dillian Whyte, fundamentally the mistakes he made against Klitschko, fundamentally the mistakes he was making against Takam and making against Povetkin. They're the mistakes he was making against better quality opposition. As you move up in class, things you might get... Look, he was making the same mistakes against Matt Legg as well. And in his first fight, he got tagged with a left hook. Joshua has not been good at blocking the left hook because of his style. So I don't know where you get about he's going to make the adjustments. What adjustments? What is it? Is he suddenly going to hide his chin? Is he suddenly going to be able to take body shots? Is he suddenly going to, when somebody rushes with punches, he's not going to panic? Is he suddenly going to go and do shoulder roll when he's on the ropes? What is he going to do differently? When's he going to know when to engage and when not to engage? He's a guy that wants to go out and blast the man out of there. So that's all you've been doing for your career, trying to blast guys out of there. Right? But when has he fought a guy that's short, squat, powerful, young, and hungry, and's got the power to knock him out? This isn't a manufactured fight here. So you're talking about a guy that's seriously flawed, and has always been flawed, but now he's fighting a guy that can expose those flaws. Whereas before, he fought guys that were unable to take that step necessary to finish the job off. That's what. The corporate world quickly demasculated Joshua quickly, says GB Boxing. EBZ fans, British fans turn their back on AJ too. Fast. He's still our guy, remember? Not about our guy. I've been saying this for years. True. So what does AJ have to do to win? Because he can win, can he? Hood Patrol, what are going on, people? Hood Patrol, Prince 9 is smiling, laughing. Ruiz will chop a Joshua body in this fight. Moving on. AJ's getting cashed out. Yep. You notice when people asked AJ about the money? Did you notice that? Did any of you catch that? When they asked him about the money, he's like, yeah, well, when I was champion, nobody asked about the money. Actually, that's a lie, because they did ask you about the money. They asked you about 50 million and about you fighting Wilder. So they asked you, how much money would you need to fight Deontay Wilder? They asked you, you gave a ballpark, you said 50 million. They brought the 50 million to you, and you ran for the mountains. So we did talk to you about money, and we did ask you about money. Or did you forget that as well, conveniently? No pros outweigh his cons. All the fights you mentioned, he won. Yes, that's why Ruiz was able to knock him out, because he knew exactly what to do. Thank you, please. Thank you. Takam was 35, Vladimir is 41, Povetkin was 37. Andy isn't old, he's decent. And the fact is, his fought since he was 8 years old. You forget it. You're not giving Andy Ruiz credit. If once you give Andy Ruiz credit, you'll see past it. If you stop being a nut hugger and you actually look at what Ruiz has done in his career, you look at him, he's a good fighter. Hearn is cashing in. Just done KSI versus Paul. A nice tax-free Monaco show, coupled with a nice 20% of Joshua's 85 million tax-free. I hope PBC UK up their game next year with actual UK PBC shows. Yep, I like that. People, please watch your comments. I came in late and haven't seen the gloves are off. True. So, same old stuff with Josh, to be honest. Nothing new. No passion. Very laid back. And almost knowing what his role in his place is. That's what it seems like to me. When one dog sniffs the other dog's behind, they all fall in line. And AJ seems like fell in line. You know what I mean? And he's kind of like, he's trying to talk that stuff still, but every time he's looking at Ruiz, and it's not a look that he's not looking directly into Ruiz's eyes. Like, I'm coming. You watch Lennox Lewis when he got knocked out by Hassan Rahman, and he's coming for his belts. Look at the fire Lennox had. Yeah, I'm picking Ruiz again. Of course, I'm picking Ruiz again. Technically, I think Joshua's flawed. I think Ruiz is a better fighter. He's a more steady fighter. Do you mean? And Ruiz got knocked down by mistake. Joshua got knocked down by technical flaws, and there's a difference. The scripted mentality is ingrained in Joshua now. He's not fit to be king of the crop. Well, it's ingrained. That's what I'm saying to you. And the people you're around. Like another thing that was worrying. They said to him, "Yeah, are you the boss?" He goes, "No, I'm one of the bosses." Really? He says, "Oh yeah, I'm going back to basics. People will say to me, when I go running, and he was talking about some stuff about stripping things away, and he wants to go back to basics. Mate, you go back to basics at world class level, you're looking for trouble. Is this car crash TV? Do you think people are tuning in to see Joshua get beat again? Quite possibly. What he was talking about, 50% cardio and 50% boxing. So 50% boxing and 50% cardio, which makes him a part-time boxer. But hold on, that's the case. If that's the case, and what you're saying and what you're suggesting, that means you've been 50% a boxer for your career, because when you were winning, that was acceptable. Now that you've lost, it's not acceptable, and he's stripping it back to the basics. But what makes you believe that going back to the basics is actually going to make you win the fight? Where do you get this logic from? Which fight did you go back to the basics? Which basics are we talking about? Are we talking about the basics back to when you were fighting as an amateur? Are we talking about the basics when you first started your professional career? Because if we go back to the basics, with a guy who's boxed almost 10 years more than you, that surely is regression. That's not progression. And I understand how going back to the basics is going to help you win this fight. What? Go back to the basics. Throw a left jab. Throw a right hand. Keep your distance. I mean, to me, it don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense whatsoever to me. You're going to go backwards to come forwards. Not in the time that you've got. If anything, do you know what? I'm keeping my size. I'm keeping what's made me successful as I am so far. I'll just tighten up in a rematch. I'm going to tighten up in a rematch. The one thing I think he has said, which makes sense, is that, I took it out too early. Meaning that I knocked Ruiz down, but I rushed in. But you do that in all your fights. Because that's your nature. That's who you are. So if anything, in the rematch, I would say, all right, do you know what? You got knocked out in the fight. Let's go back and look at the tape. So you got caught with that left hook by Ruiz. But how did that start in the first place? That started in the first place by you engaging when you shouldn't have engaged with Ruiz. So you engaged with Ruiz when you had him hurt. Now you could have stepped off for that and just kept the jab going, kept him at distance. But you decided to engage. When you engage in the throwing your punches, you got caught in that exchange. You got dropped, and that really was the beginning of the end of your title reign. So now let's spin it. Let's play it back, as they say. Let's play it back, and let's take it from round 2, going into round 3. You drop Ruiz, bang! You've got him on the canvas. You drop him. Right, nice work, good combination. What are you going to do different this time? Are you going to keep the jab going? And when you drop Ruiz, if you drop Ruiz this time, that's when Ruiz actually woke up and came for you. Have you got it within your memory bank, within your skill set, whether it be from your amateur days or in the pros? Have you got it? Is there anywhere in the locker room that you've been able to keep a guy who's hungry, who's a champion, who's got more experience than you? Have you got it in your locker room to keep him at bay with the jab and use the right hand and tie up if necessary? When have you ever had to use a jab to range find or keep a guy at distance that's coming after you, that's got the intention to seriously hurt you and has got the ability to hurt you and get inside? When have you been able to demonstrate that? So if you're going to go back to the basics, then you've got to show me somewhere, like I'm talking from a coach's mindset now, you've got to show me somewhere in your basics that you've actually demonstrated you can do that against a guy who's got faster hands than you, puts punches together better than you, knows how to walk you down, and knows what to do when you're on the inside. And even when you drop him, knows how to get up, and is experienced enough to be able to throw punches when you throw. So all these things I'm listening to. These things I'm listening to. I'm a bit concerned. So it sounds good, I'm going back to the basics. But in theory, it don't work that way. EBZ Slap. Do yourself a favour. Go and look at my pre-fight prediction. Go and see my breakdown. And go and watch my breakdown of Joshua for the last 2.5 years. What I'm saying now is nothing new, with people in his room who will witness and testify what I've been saying. He talked about not cooking the chicken yet. I've ordered food. I'm hungry now. Yeah, I know. We've laughed about it a few times. And the options come back again. Option 1, 2 and 3. Joshua had the Wilder Brazil fight in mind. Trying to get an impressive early KO against the wrong guy. Well, that's what he says. That's what he says. But to me, it had nothing to do with that. To me, I think he mentally fell apart. Truth be told, he mentally fell apart. And I said this to you, Ingram, you know that some people are just delusional. Now, let me break it down to you again. Let me show you how deep this goes. Remember when we sat down and I had one of those evenings and I spoke to you all. I really did. I said, reason with me. A ring is not a ring to some fighters. Some guys do really well when they're at home, but when they go abroad, they can't fight. And I said, Anthony Joshua, and this is when I was talking about his fan base, and I was talking about him fighting abroad. I said, Joshua, when he goes abroad, is going to have a problem. Because mentally, I don't think he's up to it fighting abroad. I don't. And I will bring on somebody on this channel. I'll bring somebody on the channel to talk about Joshua in Miami. Right? And how when you come to America, you don't go and train in Miami. You don't if you're coming if you're not from Miami, you do not go and train in Miami. That was what he told me, this guy. And he explained, he broke it to me right down why you don't go to Miami. And I remember I said to you all, remember I said this, my words, when he goes to America, he's going to spend a lot of time promoting himself. Let me show you something else as well. It even gets deeper than this. Watch this. This is when I know Joshua had no business wanting to fight Deontay Wilder. Do you remember when Joshua went to that basketball game? It was all in the eyes. And Wilder was talking about meeting up with Joshua. Do you remember it? Do you remember when they put the camera on Joshua? Watch his eyes when they were looking around like, is Wilder coming to the basketball game? Is he going to be at the game? His eyes were moving all over the place. And you're like, that's not somebody who's comfortable within their skin. That's not somebody that moves and like the heavyweight champion of the world. I would never have seen Lennox Lewis doing that. The only time I'd see Lennox do something like that is when Rackman was around or Bo was around, because he knew them two guys, he couldn't stand them. So it was a case of, if it was going to kick off, be ready. But Joshua was kind of looking around really worried, you know. And I remember those things. And that's when I said to him, you know what? If this guy goes abroad, there's going to be problems. Now he's going to Saudi Arabia. So they took him from America. He failed in America. And now take him to Saudi Arabia. The guy just not be a good traveller. He might just not be a good guy. He might not be able to travel globally. He might not be one of those guys. You know? Joshua's right, a straight right knocks people down, but Joshua's uppercut ends fights. So Ruiz needs to watch out for that. His uppercut ends fights. Like what fights? What fights, mate? Are you talking Street Fighter here? You talking Street Fighter, or you talking Fight Night Champion, or what fights he wins with uppercuts? Please, I would love to know. Miami is not the place to train. He should have stayed in New York to train at a time. That's what I was told. If you remember rightly as well, if you remember when I had Stacey McKinley on the channel, and Stacey said himself, what is he doing in Miami training? He had no business being in Miami training. One thing is for certain, Joshua won't be fighting the US anytime soon. No, he won't. Dillian Whyte has got the shiftiest eyes in the business though. Oh, Dillian Whyte's different. Dillian Whyte's funny. I spoke about Dillian Whyte earlier. Yeah, them punches he was throwing on the pads. It must have been a joke. But he's throwing that uppercut like, Hadouken, Hadouken. Oh, you get Hadouken. You lose. Perfect. Mortal Kombat. Finish him. Oh dear. Saudis might be playing something to upset Team Ruiz. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, he wouldn't. But how much can that upset Ruiz? I don't know. You know, the only thing they can say to Andy Ruiz is, hey, you know what? You and your family, you and your kids. That's the only thing they can go along with Andy Ruiz. It's him and his kids. Do you understand? Do you really want to mess up our plans here? That's the only thing. And remember, Joshua and his connections out there, you just don't know how strong they are. But I don't know. I don't know about that. I'll try not to go down that route. What happened to that? Let's keep moving on. No White and Klitschko both got KO'd from uppercut. Right. White was injured going into that fight. I said White should never have taken that fight against Joshua. And Klitschko, well, Klitschko should have had Joshua out of there in round 5. So I really don't want to. No, I'm not. You know, he didn't knock He didn't knock Klitschko out with the uppercut. The fight did not end with the uppercut. That may have started the trouble, but it didn't end the fight. Yeah, there's a difference. If the uppercut was so good, do you see how big the uppercut was? It took Klitschko's head off his shoulders. LOL. White needs to make his move to fight sometime here in the States. Yeah, there must be a reason why Dillian Whyte, for whatever reason, didn't sign with Top Rank. Do you know? Do you know what I think? I think Dillian Whyte, if I was at a guess, would join Al Heyman. That's what I would think. A freelance deal with Al Heyman, promotional deal. Not a promotional deal, but some sort of dealing with Al Heyman. I just get this feeling. I don't know what it is. Just this feeling. But anyway, I could be wrong. But yeah, come back to my point about Joshua and Ruiz. If you can show me in this gloves are off that Joshua looks like a man, he didn't even realise. Check this out as well. He didn't even realise he was in the challenger's seat. He didn't realise he was in the challenger's seat. He's so used to being in the champion seat. So, listen, I'm champion. I'll have rolled in and said, hey, well, hold on, I'm sitting there. No, bro, you're not sitting there. You're sitting there now because you're the challenger. He didn't realise it. Johnny Nelson had to say, you used to sit over here. So Johnny Nelson had to bring Joshua back to the reality of, hey, you're not the champion, bro. He's a champion. Johnny Nelson had to bring it to him. He even says, I don't even mix with people outside. Yeah, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do that straight after this. He didn't even mention about the seat arrangement. Nelson had to bring it to him. He even mentioned the fact that, I don't hang around with boxing. I don't hang with people outside of boxing. I don't chat with people outside of boxing. But who's the people advising you? The whole thing sounds a mess to me. A complete mess. So, yeah, I think that's about it for me. I'm no closer convinced with I'm no further convinced about Joshua winning this fight. The only way Joshua wins this fight for me is if the fix is in. That's it. I cannot see for the life of me how Joshua wins this fight. So yeah. Right, I'm going to finish this off. I'm going to drop the Arsenal video straight after this. And after I drop the Arsenal video, we're going to be doing a Arsenal special tonight. All right? So let me come out of this. And I'll be back. Thank you all for watching. This has been BWTM Sports. Again, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We're out there. See you soon.